Hey guys, CJ here. I know it's been a long time since I've done a video. It's been a horrendous winter for me. Between life, family, work, the shop. It's everybody knows how it goes. Just wanted to do a short update. It's been a while. I know the last time I think that I probably should have watched my last video to see where I was. I think I was talking about building a separate wood shop in my barn for, the woodworking side to stop my whole barn from being consumed by all of my woodworking and also, getting sawdust all over everything and in everything. So I did get time that in between jobs, you know how it goes. I had a short period of time that I didn't have a wood job. So I said, well, now's the time. And I tore the whole barn apart, put everything outside. It was just a disaster. And then, of course, I think we got snow or something. So I ended up putting everything back in and then trying to figure out how to, work through it and around it and everything else. So it was quite the arduous task, like everything else, an ass-ache, if you will. So what I ended up doing was, let me come in here and turn the other light on. Don't mind the mess on this side. I haven't gotten there yet. Ooh, dummy. There, we're getting a little brighter. So, when you walked into my barn before, through the door that's over by the house side, right now I'm standing where my table saw and work table used to be. Let me see if I can flip this thing around. I don't know if I can. No, I don't think I can. I don't know how to do that. Let me see. Let me try that button. Nope, that's not it. Alright, so anyway, right here is where my table saw used to be, and over here I had my chop saw set up here, and then that was just a bench full of wood and like a small workbench and my nuts and bolts bin, radio, that kind of stuff. That was my chop saw bench, and I had about 2 feet around 3 sides of it that I could, walk around. So I had decided that I wanted to segment the barn in 2 sections, 1/3 of it being a new wood shop that was dedicated to the wood shop, and then 2/3 of it to be the original, my actual garage. So I ended up having a chance to get a different job for my living. So I ended up doing so. I left the airport, and so I had to bring home my toolbox, which takes up a lot of space. It's 8 feet long, 6 foot tall, 3 foot deep. So it just kind of ended up right there where I used to have a 12-foot long workbench and a wall of cabinets and all that. So all that stuff came out, and then over on the other side, I put in a big temporary shelf so I could store all my crap that I had in the back half of the shop so I could build the wood shop. My bike, and over in the corner there I got some cabinets I still need to put up and some other stuff, but once I get this side of the shop cleaned out, probably in the spring, then I will move that big rack, because behind it I have a lathe and I have another Harley, and there's a wood stove, and there's some cabinets and stuff, which houses all the oil and filters and stuff like that for the cars, the bikes, and all that crap. Lawnmower, quad, blah, blah, blah. So what I ended up doing was I built a wall. It's 30, I think it's 32 feet. Yeah, it's 32 feet long, and 10 foot high. And then I took, reclaimed a set of horse stall barn doors, and now it's separated the two sides of the shop so that this side of the shop, doesn't get covered in sawdust all the time. And most of the time, the quad and the snowplow's not in here. It's usually in my sled shed, which I have a couple snowmobiles and lawnmower and all that stuff. But it's usually in there, but we just had snow, so I had to just park it in here because it's just easier to drive it in and out. I still got a lot of crap to move and get rid of. Leaf blowers, my snow blower, just all that normal crap that come springtime, once I go to clean this all out, I'll clean out the sled shed, and I think I'll put some shelving in there or something so I can put the leaf blowers up on the shelves in there, and just organize. I got to take the trash out in case you can't tell. I mean, 2 garbage cans full, cardboard. The cardboard I recycle, I bring it over to the local recycling center. It's just a matter of getting there and doing it. Let's see, over here on the other side of my bike, I've got a couple of cabinets, wooden cabinets here that still have to go up on the wall. Then there's a couple of cabinets there that still have to go up on the wall. Once I get all of this area straightened out, then I will move my bike lift over a little bit further. And, I'll have a counter here and all the cabinets, so I have my basic work center around my bike and the bike lift. Because, I do stuff for other people, and, not to mention all the fiddle farting around and cleaning on my bike that I do. Although it does not look it right now because it's got like freaking 3 inches of dust and dirt on it. But, whatever. It cleans up. So, back to where I was saying here. All right. So, up top in the roof there, you'll see a white pipe. That's for my dust collection system, which the dust collector itself is actually right up there, just above those planks, so I can service it. It's right on the edge of the wall, so I can, service it, clean it out, whatever. I wired that 220 this year. It was always 110. So I ran, a ton of conduit and all that stuff. So now this side stays cold. It doesn't get, there's no insulation in here. So, it gets chilly, but the shop now, the wood shop, gets way warmer, so it's nowhere near as brutal outside, to work in the evenings than it used to be. So let's take a walk into the new shop. We'll close the barn doors. I built a, 7 foot high by 8 foot wide opening from the new shop into the old shop, and then on the other side I have a 9 foot by 9 foot sliding door, so if I have big projects, stuff like that, I can bring it right out into the yard, right into the back of the barn. Let's see, first thing, I did a corrugated shiny or reflective ceiling to help radiate, make the shop brighter. Above that I have a ½ inch of a fiber board, and then above that I have 6 inches of fiberglass insulation to keep the heat in the shop, which is so much nicer. When I come in, I wish I could flip this thing around, but I don't know how to do it. So here's my table saw with my Incra LSTS positioner, and then dust collection, and then I made basically an overarm, which I don't have it put on right now because I was using the dust collection about 10 minutes ago for my router. I put the router table right on the table saw, and then I have a Shop Fox. Oh, Jesus. Here, let me do it this way. Where is it? There it is. A Shop Fox fence and dust collection hood. It just literally, you set it on the table in the 2 slots and just slide it on past the hole, lock it down, and then you just pop the router up through the bottom. This way you have a fence, dust collection, everything right there. It takes 2 seconds to put it on and set it up, and 2 seconds to take it off and hang it back on the wall. And it just saves a ton of space, you know. So I use the same hose off the dust collection, and I have it so it plugs right into the back of the fence for the Shopvac fence. But when it's not in use, I have a regular Shopvac piece that essentially sits right like this, right above the, the blade. And then when it's not in use, I made this arm that just folds up out of the way, so that when it's not in use, the hose normally just sits up here. Yeah, of course it's going to make me look like a retard. I guess I don't need a hose to make me look like a retard. But anyway, the hose stays right in when the hose and the dust collection boot are connected. I did just get today a hood for the dust collection that I will make a mount for and connect it to the overarm. This works great, but I just don't like the fact that I can't see the blade when I'm cutting. So that's why I'm changing it to a clear view so I can see. But other than that, dust collection, comes out of the bottom of the saw through here. I have a, blast gate. Then I also have a blast gate for the overarm, which is for the router and also for the table saw, the top of the table saw. And at some point I'm going to probably make another adapter, which I just pop that, just pops right off. No clamp or anything, and literally the hose just pops right off. But I'm going to do a longer hose that I can use for my sander on the work table. So the nice part about that is with the dust collector upstairs, you can't hear it. Right on my table saw, right next to the table saw, I have the switch for the dust collection system. So as you can see, you really can't hear it, and it'll be just nice not to have to listen to a vacuum. Because right now I use a big rigid and a hose that just plugs into my sander, and then I have a RCV push button remote control for the sander. So this way, when you're sanding, the hose plugs right into the dust port on my sander, and the remote control just sits right on the bench with me while I'm working. On the back side of the table saw, I put a receptacle GFCI that I run either the router or the sander or the desk light that I have so I can see, because my eyes are getting old. I had to run all the conduit, up off the ceiling. The dust collection goes through the ceiling, and then the other leg goes across the shop over onto the back wall and then down to my chop saw station. But we'll get to that when we get around the other side. I built a very simple clamp rack that has pretty much everything that I need here at the build table is literally right behind me at my hands. The shop is 15 feet wide and 32 feet long. My work table is 6 foot by 4 foot. I have two wooden American flags that I'm building right now, so I have all the pieces cut and prepped for paint, which I'll probably do tomorrow. Going a little further around, I have my drill press, Foster bits, just a shelf, bandsaw, and then a cabinet with all my stains in it, and then a couple of filing cabinets just for supplies and crap like that. Underneath my work table, Let me see if I can prop this up here. I don't know if I'm going to be able to or not. No, probably not. They don't want to flip over. But if you can see, I actually built my work table out of a steel old shop desk. And in the drawers, it's just right underneath your knees, you know, is drill bits, hammer, you know, all that kind of stuff. Next drawer is all sandpaper, tape, things of that nature. And then the deep drawer is all corded power tools. And then underneath here, you know, is just sander, saw boxes, all that crap. And then the next big drawer over here is all my air tools, or my you know, air nailers and stuff. And then the next drawer up is all my cordless tools. So everything's right at your knees when you're working on the table. And then on the end of the table underneath, I have another rack with all just the small squeeze clamps. And then on the other side, underneath the work table, I just crouch down. I have a set of a bank of cabinets, which is all screws, and then bit sets, all kinds of more crap, you know, more stuff that you need. But it's all right underneath my knees, you know, when I'm working on the work feed / outfeed table. So going further around, I built a 12-foot long chop saw station. I ordered the new 10-inch glide miter from Bosch, really nice piece. And then I have a direct hose hooked right onto the saw, which collects most of the dust. And then I just built a simple box around it. Let me see if I can spin it around. And inside, I don't know if you'll be able to see, but I have a 4-inch PVC pipe in there. And then also, you know, 2 blast gates. One I can turn the box off and just use the shop, you know, the saw dust collection, or both. And then I put a measuring system on here, the Kreg Jig measuring system. I have 8 feet one way and about 3.5 feet the other way. I still got to get a tape for that side. I have a tape, but I don't want to burn up a 12-foot tape for a 3-foot piece, you know. And then a couple of cabinets, you know, the K5, great piece. So I just hang that on the wall. I drilled all the holes and then chamfered them all just so that the board itself is super light and it's, you know, rigid and super easy. Geez, there we go. Oh, one noise I do is I take it off the wall and I set it right here on the shop saw, which supports it enough that I can, you know, push the operate the tool and then drill. Oh. And I use the dust collection hose in the shop vac. I hook that right up to the, you know, the dust port on the Kreg Jig itself, so that it keeps most of the dust down to a minimum. And you know, by having the whole board as one piece, it's easy to pick up and it's light, and just set it in place, and it's very functional, you know, where it sits, and it's super easy. You know, I found that as I was building this shop, I found that if something's hard to set up and, you know, hard to clean up after, you tend not to use it. And so I tried to lay everything out here to where it's easy and convenient and fast. So it's stuff I use, and it keeps the shop a whole lot cleaner, because you have the vacuum hose out, so when you're done making your mess or whatever, you just vacuum up that station that you're working at. Oh, Jesus. Oh, I forgot about that. The other day I was using my Incra rule, and I didn't want to leave it on the bench because I was tossing the wood around. So I just hung it up on the shelf, and, well, I forgot I put it there. That's why there's a place for everything, and everything has its place. So, chop saw station, dust collection, on this side, I made I don't know if we're going to get a good light here. I made a hanger. This is a LED shop light. It's 3 foot long. It was $15 at Lowe's or Home Depot, or I think it was Home Depot. But anyway, cordless tools, and then battery charging station, miscellaneous other chargers, batteries, cabinet bases. So I haven't gotten around to putting anything in them yet. They're still empty. I still got to figure out, organizing the rest of the shop. And then in front of the big door that goes outside, I have it plasticed off right now just to keep the drafts out for the winter. But I have some other tools on a stainless steel cart that's on wheels, so it just wheels right out of the way. Or if I need to use it, I just wheel it right out in the middle of the shop, and I use whatever tool it is, whether it be the planer or the joiner. And then going over a little bit further, I have a couple of 4 foot or 12 foot long 4-inch hoses, and what I do is I pop off the reducer here, so it just pops right off, and then plug the hose in it, and then I hook it right up to the planer or also the jointer, so I have dust collection for that, and it just takes seconds to install and take apart. And not to mention, when you're done using the tool, when you're done with the job, it's nice having that 12 foot hose, because then you can, I made a piece of 4-inch plastic S&D pipe that I actually use for a vacuum, so I vacuum up the floor, or whatever pieces, whatever dust or whatever went flying. So going on a little further, I put another big rack in here, which is my wood rack, and then all my sheet goods are still sitting here, but that's going to change. Since I brought my big toolbox home, I didn't need my small toolbox anymore, so I just cleaned that out. And that's hopefully a guy coming tomorrow to buy that. And then once that's out of here and out of the way, all of my sheet goods will slide in between the wood rack and the refrigerator, standing up, so it's out of the way and I can access the wood rack. And then going around here, old wood hutch somebody was getting rid of that's in pristine condition, and I had no use for it in the house, so I actually use it for storage. There's screws, dominoes, all kinds of crap is in all the drawers and everything. It's just someplace else to hang crap, And then going over a little further, I built myself basically a desk or a wood shop bench, metal cabinets on the bottom. Oh, I'm trying not to drop this thing. Metal cabinets on the bottom on both sides, and so I think 11 foot long bench, and then cabinets. Stereo, and this is kind of where I do most of my drawing, math, figure, and all that crap out. And it's still a mess because I have not cleaned it since I was building the shop, so it's just kind of been a catch-all. For example, I still have a whole crap load of blow molded cases of tool bits, router bits, all that stuff that will eventually end up going in those cabinets that are underneath the chop saw station. I just haven't got there yet. Just haven't got there yet. I do have a furnace that I'm going to be putting in, and on the front wall, the furnace is going to go up in the corner, and then all along the front wall, I'm going to run a piece of 8-inch spiral duct with 3, chutes to come down to heat the shop. I just haven't got there yet, so I've been using a little ready heater, and that works great to heat the whole shop, and it's very efficient on fuel. And if it's really cold out, I'll use that and a kerosene heater. I'll put the kerosene heater on one side and this on the other. And most of the time, the kerosene heater I'll leave running, and the salamander, it gets too hot in here, and I end up shutting it off. Like right now, it's still 52 degrees, and I haven't had the heat on in probably a couple of hours. So it's efficient, and it's way better than being in the other side of the shop with no insulation or anything, where there was some days I was working and it was 20 degrees in the shop, So that's that. the job itself of, you know, doing the ceiling and wiring, and I mean, I got, there I am looking at right there, one of the ceiling boxes. I never put the cover back on yet. I figure I'm just waiting to move the toolbox, move those sheet goods so I can get on the ladder and get to it. And so I've done a ton of conduit all the way around, out of the ceiling, down onto the saw, all the way around the table saw to power the 220 table saw, and then the switch to power the 220 dust collection up in the ceiling. This summer, I'm going to be putting a larger service down into the barn itself, so I have more circuits. You know, I mean, who doesn't need more electric in a shop, right? Pretty much the floor in the whole barn is a really rough blacktop, and it's like a binder, I guess. It works, but you know, it's uneven, it's crappy, it is what it is. Sure beats dirt. So I've had to overcome some things here with that, like my table saw. There's a table that some people were throwing away, so I took the tabletop and I put a bunch of 2x4 ribs underneath it, and I set that on the floor so it's much easier to level the table saw. I have rubber horse stall mats all around the entire shop on the floor, so that I'm not standing on the blacktop all day, which really makes a big difference, you know, when you spend nights and weekends working in here, you know, aside from your regular day job. The shop's been pretty busy. Just got done doing a big farm table. I think I got another table coming up. I have a couple of wooden flags. I've done so many wooden flags this year, and I'm very thankful to have the work. I'm building on the table right now is a 3x5 wooden flag and also a 2x4. Those are just rough dimensions. When I build a wooden flag, I build every wooden flag to the U.S. flag standards, unlike half of the scabs out there who don't. And that just irritates me that they're, you know, wanting to pimp their wares or sell what they make, which is great. You know, I'm all for, you know, entrepreneurialism, but I feel that if you're going to do it, you should do it right. You should be building for the build, not building for the money. You know, money's great, but, you know, give the customer what they're paying for. I always put a ton more labor in everything that I do because I try to, you know, do everything the right way as opposed to scabbing it. But anyway, that's a video of another time. So I guess this video is going on long enough. I don't know if they're going to let me post it. I don't know if I could do a 29-minute video. Didn't realize it took that long. So, I got married. My wife and I have been together 12 or 13 years, something like that. And we finally got around to tying the knot. So I'm pretty stoked about that. I married my best friend, which is phenomenal. I guess that's pretty much it. I'll try to get back in the habit of doing videos again once a week, once every other week. We'll see how it goes. I start a new job on Monday. Should be good. It's a town job, you know, highway department. It'll be good. So, that's it. You're all caught up to my world. Thanks, guys, so much for watching. I appreciate it. I appreciate the time that, you know, sorry this one was a little bit long and drawn out. I know most people don't want to sit and watch a half-hour video of some dude rambling. And I get it. I totally get it. I think the experts say your video should be under 7 minutes to maintain, you know, the people's interest. Sorry, guys. So you got 3 videos in one. Thanks so much. Have a great day. Have a safe New Year, and we'll see you soon. I don't know what that means. And are you still recording? Son of a...